Slide up right here just so that, all right. Okay, so just so there is absolutely no chance of any favoritism whatsoever. What I mean by that is the order in which the series flows, the order in which the mowers, get shown in videos. We've got all the names of the brands represented right here in the hat, and Jax is going to draw so that it takes me out of the equation. It takes me saying, "Oh man, I want to save that. I want to save that bad boy for last." You know what I'm saying? That's the bad boy right there. Well, I want to save the right mower for last because that's what we use. It takes all of that out of the equation. So Jax is going to draw, and however the names come out of the hat, that is the order in which you will see the videos of each individual mower. No looking. Now when you call a name out, call it out loud so they can hear it right here on the speaker.
The first one will be Skag.
Skag is number one. Skag is going first. Holy cow. All right, throw that one over there so it's out. No, hang on. Put it in your pocket. Put it in your pocket. That way you can take them inside and throw them in the trash can. All right, number two.
Number two will be...
Drum roll.
Gravely.
The Gravely's going second in line.
Let's see.
Number three
is going to be Right.
Right, ZK. All right, what is this for? Number four?
Yeah. Yes. Number four is going to be...
This is kind of like...
Spartan.
The Spartan is number four. This is kind of like the NBA draft, right?
Yes.
All right. The fifth mower you'll see in the series of videos is...
Hustler.
Hustler. Number six.
Cub Cadet.
Cub Cadet. The Cub Cadet is going to be number six.
I didn't.
Cub Cadet.
Number seven. John Deere.
John Deere Green. Where are we at? Number eight?
Yes. X-Mark.
X-Mark. This is number 9. This is really exciting.
Toro Grand.
The Toro Grandstand is going number 9. Number 10.
Ferris.
The Ferris. Number 11.
12.
You can't look.
Grasshopper.
The Grasshopper. Now there's 2 in there. There's 2 more. Make sure they're split. Okay, I got 1 and you got 1. Number 12.
Bad Boy.
The Bad Boy. And bringing up the rear, that will get the last video, is the Toro Multi-Pro. Well, look at there. So, now it's all out in the open. There's absolutely no way whatsoever I can cheat and put them in the order that I want them in, because J-Rod just did that for me.
You know the order, right?
Huh?
You know the order, right?
I forgot. Do we need to do it again?
Oh, my.
No. When I edit the video, I'll write them down. All right?
All right.
Appreciate it, dog. Love you. Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. Hope you're having a great day today. And what an honor. I mean, look, what an honor. If you would have told me 20 years ago when I started my company, hey Pete, yeah, there'll be a day where you'll have every single, mostly every one of the major manufacturers stand-on mowers in your driveway, washing them and doing a review on them and talking about them and yada yada yada. I'd have probably laughed at you and said, "Get out of my face, you're stupid." This is an absolute dream come true. I cannot believe this stuff is in my driveway, and I'm loving it. I mean, I got to be completely honest with you. I'm absolutely loving it. So just got finished filming, kind of like a drag race, a real fun video. And now it's time to kind of get serious. I want to represent each brand, each mower to the absolute best of my ability. With a lot of honor and integrity involved here, and so as part of that, I like a clean machine. I got my truck and my car, and I'm just a detail nut. I like for things to shine, and if I'm gonna put these machines out in my yard and in the opening video, I want every one of them shining like a new penny. So a little shameless plug right here. My GCI Clean pressure washer setup is just about ready. When that's ready, I'll do a video on it. As part of that, the whole purpose of that is trying to encourage lawn care companies to keep their equipment clean. One, I think it lasts longer, and two, it's your image in a client's yard, and you want to promote a good, clean image, and it's just my thing. May not be yours, but it is mine. And as part of all that, I will be offering a pressure washer setup. Of course, anybody can use it. Homeowners and things like that, it works just as well for you guys. And to go along with that, I brought on some of the DIY detail products. Been incredibly impressed with those, so I have those on the website now. I've got just a couple of them in the small container and the 16-ounce small container, and then the gallon, the all clean, and the incredible suds, and might add a few more of those into the lineup, but basically that's all you need to clean a mower. So my process real quick is I will knock off all the heavy stuff, the grit and grime, because I don't want that being ground into the paint when I'm washing it. So get all the metal free of any heavy debris, and then I will spray it down. I've actually got a Flow Zone 2.5 gallon because I've got so many of them to do. I didn't want to pump it, so I've got a Flow Zone 2.5 gallon battery sprayer. I've got the all clean mixed at a 1-to-1 ratio. And then in my bucket, it's a typical 5-gallon wash bucket. I've got incredible suds, and then I've got the all clean, about 2 ounces of each, 2 or 3 ounces of each. And then I've got a spray bottle that has the all clean in a straight up concentrated form. I use that on the tires and really tough things I need to clean that are things that are super dirty. I really need to get in there and do some heavy cleaning. And then I've got a bunch of their brushes I'm trying. I'm not completely sure which one I'm like yet, but once I land on one, that'll be on the website as well. So the purpose of this video is to just kind of get the machines cleaned up, and I'm going to talk you through the opening video and talk you through what's going on in Pete's mind for this entire series, all the different categories, the subcategories, and all that. So you'll kind of get a good general idea of what's going to happen kind of before it actually does happen. So probably going to be a super long video. My apologies, but you guys know me. I think the details are very important. So if you don't want to watch a really long video of some crazy dude out here washing a bunch of lawnmowers in his driveway, then this might not be the video for you. Wait and you can see the actual review series. So let's get to it. So in order to try and keep this fair as possible, so that one particular machine doesn't get more screen time than the other, I guess for lack of better words. I'm gonna try to go like over one category while we're washing one particular machine. That way it'll kind of even everything out, hopefully. So that right there is the diluted. Here's the non-diluted. All clean. Going on the tires, because tires kind of get a little bit more yucky. And this paper I got, that's like some notes I've got to, so I don't miss anything. Then of course I'm gonna foam it down with the Incredible Suds. All right, so I guess the main question, you know, if you had to ask one question, that would be why? Why in the world am I doing this? I mean, you know, gosh, it's going to take up a tremendous amount of time to get this done. Now, I love this industry. I've been in a home-owned company for 20 years now, and I'm absolutely in love with the industry, the job, the whole self-employment thing. And you know, a lot of the stuff I've been there, done that, and a lot of younger companies, you know, trying to get all this figured out, and you know, you fail and do well and at some things, and you know, if there's some experience I can provide to help folks not make some of the same mistakes that I made in my business when it was younger, then I'm all for that, 100% for that. And this is just one of the ways that can be done, is giving a very straightforward, honest, non-biased, you know, review on equipment. This stuff ain't cheap. I mean, this stuff ain't cheap. It's very expensive equipment. And so you don't want to ever buy something and be like, oh man, I wish I wouldn't have bought that. So, you know, if there's information out there that will help you make a decision so that when you do buy it, you're over the top glad that you made the right decision, then if I can help in that way, then I'm all for it, 100%. So that's kind of the why, and you know, not gonna lie to you, I'll eat this stuff up. I just absolutely love it. So you know, it's kind of a little bit of a treat for me as well to get to do this. So you know, it's kind of plain and simple. It's really to help out the business owner, and you know, on top of that, another reason is to support local dealerships. Big deal. I'm a major fan of local business, local small business, and you know, I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that somebody watching this video will see a mower that they want to buy, and they will go to their local dealership and they will purchase that mower. And that income that dealership makes or gets will, maybe this video will be the video that someone needs to kind of set them over the top to get them to go to a small business, dealership, local dealership, and purchase that mower they've been wanting to buy for so long. There we go. Obviously, that in itself is going to help these brands out. I'll just be completely honest with you. I hope every single brand out here represented, I hope they can't keep up. I hope they can't make enough. I know that's a little bit of an issue now, but I hope this really makes it hard on them to keep up and with demand on mowers, because so many people are buying them. So you know, that alone is going to help out the dealerships as well. And, you know, not gonna lie, I'll be straightforward with you. You know, my right mowers are starting to get some hours on them. I'm washing it right now. That wouldn't set up that way. My right mowers are getting some hours on them, and so me getting the privilege to be able to look at all these mowers up close and use them, send them out with my crews, let them use them, we'll be able to figure out for ourselves the fleet of mowers that we're going to buy next. So not gonna lie, there's something in it for me. All right, let's use a different brush this time. Let's use this red one. See how this one does. At the end of the day, all of this, everything that's happening right here, I wanted to support American manufacturing, American jobs. I am just over the top about anything and everything you could possibly get to be made in America. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Everything can't be made in America, or everything isn't made in America would be a better way to word that. I wish it were. Man, I wish it were. Our country is so incredible. And the people, the brain power we have in this country is so incredibly amazing that we can make and manufacture anything we want to, anything. And I so want that to be true for our country, because at the end of the day, that you know, puts food on the table for men and women, American men and women. And I'm just over the top all about that. Okay, I think I definitely like the shorter brush. When I get my tractor finally, I believe this longer handle will absolutely come in handy, but for a mower, I think I like the shorter brush because it's kind of easier to maneuver and get around the machine really well. All right, I think that's everything on this one. It's always very hard to wash these front wheels. Luckily, all these mowers are basically brand new, so they're not super dirty anyway. So it's kind of easy. So let's talk about the comment section for a minute. I think that's going to be kind of important to talk about this. I'm 100% for free speech. Say what you want. But I'm asking in these comment sections that you be respectful to the different brands represented here for one simple reason alone. These mowers are built by Americans. Those Americans are hardworking men and women that go into work day in and day out to feed their family. And something you might say negative, although it might be true, okay, I get that, I don't mind. I'm okay with criticism, constructive criticism, but when you flat out bash something and make it look really bad, and that may have been your experience, and I'm sorry. I apologize on behalf of any of these machines to you, but you have to remember, American men and women make these machines, and they go to work and they make an income and they feed their family. So, you know, you could say something to potentially hinder that in some way, shape, or form, and I'm not for that in any way. So I ask that you please be respectful in the comments, and if you got something harsh you want to say, think about it a minute. Think about the 5-year-old boy that the dad gets up and goes and builds this grasshopper, and he takes that check and he goes home and puts a roof over that child's head and feeds that child. So please be respectful in the comments. Let's see what other colors I got down here. Let's try the, I don't know, this particular blue one right here. I actually might like that for the tires. That one actually does pretty good with tires. And you might even get the wheel there. This blue one's kind of a medium texture. It's not like real soft, but it's not super stiff either. That might be a good all-purpose one. I might have to look at this hard. I might carry this one on the website. All right, let's try this gray one here. Now this one is really soft. So something I want to be clear about is this is not a paid promotion type thing. None of these brands representative have paid me a penny. Not the first one. I'm doing this on my own time, on my own dime, because I'm having to take quite a bit of time away from work to get all this done. So it's actually costing me money to do it. But that's not a big deal. I'm okay with that. I just want you to know that in no way or any of these companies paying me any of this. They're not paying me any money to do any of this. And that brings up another good question. Well, what happens to the mowers after you get done making the review? Well, simple. They go back to where they come from. I ain't gonna lie to you. It'd be nice to keep, well, I don't want to keep them all. I ain't got nowhere to put them. So couldn't do that, but it would be nice to hang on to, after all this done, and then I kind of figure out, the one that I might, ones that I might prefer over the other. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. It'd be super nice to be able to hang on to them, but I don't expect that from any of the manufacturers. I'd much rather them take the machine, use it as a demo to be able to sell their product to small business. And on top of all of that, if you want to know what the ideal thing would be, if I had my way with this, is to give away all the machines to you guys. That would be off the hook, but I can tell you now that's probably not going to happen. So I'll actually be doing all the videoing myself. I'll be doing all the editing myself. So lots of probably late nights. Am I looking for a pat on the back or a big hug from everybody? Absolutely not. I've been working like a dog for 20 years, actually longer than that. But when I started my own company, I really worked like a dog then. Of course, my work, the type of work I do now is a little bit different. I'm not in the field with my employees nonstop. A lot of times at the desk, and then obviously my YouTube is basically a full-time job that takes up probably more time than my actual job does. So I say all that to say it's just what I do. I mean, the work ethic has always been there, and that will never go away. My buddy said, hey, you need to take a break, slow down. Well, I'll rest when I die. This is the Griot foam cannon I'm using, trying it out, something different. As far as my pressure washer setup goes, I won't have a foam cannon to go with it. I'm still working on that, but that will come at a later time in the future. And again, I want to kind of stress this a little bit more. Pete, why don't you just take the dang mowers out and start mowing with them? It's far more to it than that for me. These companies have trusted me with their brand. I'm in a position right now, I've got all these mowers here. I can say what I want to say and post it on YouTube, and I could devastate. That's not a good word. Let me rephrase that. I could probably do some damage to some different brands, or what. I think you kind of know what I'm saying. You know, I'm not that kind of a guy. I'm just not going to do that, regardless whether I like or dislike something. So that's why I'm taking the time to clean them all up, make sure they're in pristine condition, and the video layout, the review layout has really been thought through very, very well, so that each one of these brands are represented to the absolute best of my ability, and each brand gets a chance to shine, because at the end of the day, I'm not brand loyal to any of these mowers, none of them. So the side discharge flap will be coming off every mower for two reasons. One, so it's kind of equal, which I guess I could leave them on and it would be equal, but I personally hate the things. I do not like them at all. Every mower I own, that's the first thing that goes is the side discharge chute, just because I don't like it. So they're coming off. So let's go over the format of the video series. First and foremost, the single most important part of this is it will not be a competition style review, meaning at the end of the video or at the end of the series, Pete's not going to say, well, I like this one the best, because that would make it a competition, and it's not a competition style review series. The way it's going to be laid out is there are categories. We'll go over the categories here in a minute, and each one of those categories is going to get a score from 1 to 10, and that score is going to come from, obviously, from me, and then each mower is going to go out with each one of my crew leaders. I have 3 crew leaders on the maintenance side, and so all 3 are going to take the mower out and they're going to mow with it all day long. You know, whatever the properties are, they mow that particular day, and they'll get a real good feel for it. All 3 of them have been mowing for a very long time, The combined experience with those 3 guys is probably going to be somewhere around probably close to 50 years. So they know mowers. They know them inside and out, and they're going to actually score as well. So it won't just be my score that you get to go by. It'll be you know, folks that, you know, my crew leaders who are in the field every single day on these machines. I will go ahead and throw this in as a stipulation, because you will need to know this to make your own judgment. But we started off with Exmark years ago. Actually, no, I didn't. My first commercial mower was a Toro, 36-inch Toro walk behind, and then my first rider was the Exmark. That was my first ever commercial riding mower purchase. And we bought shortly after that, we really took off growing, bought a whole fleet of Exmarks. I mean, a whole bunch of them. And then we wore those out. And then, you know, this goes back to the brand loyalty. I don't care what the color of the machine is. At the point in time in history, when I go to make a purchase for my company, I'm going to buy the best thing on the market, in my opinion, that fits my business the best. And if I'm being completely straightforward with you, that's the exact same way you should look at it. Don't let brand loyalty cloud your judgment. Just because a certain mower is orange, or just because a certain mower is yellow or red or brown and tan, it doesn't mean you have to buy that mower. So that 10-point scale system, I think that is the most fair and the most non-biased way that you could possibly do something you know, of this scale. You know, if there's a better way out there, I apologize, I didn't think of it. But all this is kind of set in stone now and sitting on keels, so that's how we're going to do it. So please allow me to correct myself right quick on the discharge chute. Like this Spartan, it actually has the ability to lock up and stay out of the way on its own. If that's the case, I won't be taking that one off. It's just for the ones that are kind of, spring-loaded John Deere. I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but see, it doesn't have an ability to stay up out of the way, so I'm just going to take it off. I just want to make that clear in case you actually see a few of them that have the discharge chute still on it. Okay, so now let's get into the categories itself, and one of the categories is going to be aesthetics and build quality. And again, if these categories don't kind of line up with the same way you think, it's okay. I'm completely fine with that. Aesthetics and build quality, the look of a machine, should not really drive the fact whether you buy something or not. But I do feel like the look of a machine should not necessarily play into the purchase, but it does have a little bit of pull, in my opinion. I mean, who in the world wants to buy a mower, or any machine for that matter, that's just crappy looking? It just looks yucky, okay? And obviously none of these out here look bad by no means, but I do think some look better than others from an aesthetics standpoint, and so that's why I felt like it needed to be on a as part of one of the categories. Build quality, super important. You don't want to buy something that's going to break all the time. Frame issues and bolts coming loose, and it's just it goes on and on and on and on. So we'll definitely be going over looking at in very close detail on the welding, the build quality, just how the things are made, how well they're put together, and that kind of thing. So I think build quality should play into whether you buy a particular machine or not. And I know some of you's probably had it happen. You're always going to get that one machine, no matter how good the entire lineup is built. Every once in a while, one comes off the assembly line, and maybe that night the guy that is putting the thing together, maybe the night before he had a bad night and he missed tightening a bolt. Yes, a lot of that's human error. I think the standards by all the computerized lasers and all that cut all this metal out and all that stuff. That's pretty pretty cut and dried. I mean, it's not likely that they'll have issues with that. It probably comes down to the human error part in the manufacturing process, and I don't like getting anything that's broken, or breaks quickly when I get it. But you just have to keep that in mind, folks. You got to remember that human beings are turning bolts on these things and snapping pieces together and welding pieces, and a lot of stuff has the robot welders, but a lot of stuff is welded with American hands, and you have to take that into consideration. Now, before I go any further, I want to say that there will be a few non-scoring categories like dealer support. We'll talk about the price, MSRP, and then we'll talk about warranty. So those won't kind of be part of the score, because I don't think that's fair to score those things. And then we're gonna have another non-scoring category, which I think will be kind of fun, and that'll be the cup holder category. And of course, I really can't score that on a 1 to 10, because if they don't have a cup holder, they get a 0. If they do have a cup holder, they get a 10, and that just wouldn't be fair to the ones that actually don't have one, because that would drag down the overall score of, you know, the entire mower. So can't do that. So the next category, or another category, is going to be, I've got all this wrote down right here so I don't miss anything. Control, layout, ergonomics, functionality, ease of use, USB port, height of cut adjustment, fuel tanks, the mower footprint. So that's going to be a pretty big category that will go over, you know, several things as far as the controls go, you know, how much space the thing takes up on your trailer, the layout, how easy it is to get your hands on everything. You know, ergonomics is a pretty big deal. If you're going to be on this thing all day long, you want something comfortable. You want something that fits your hands well, you know, molds to your body well, holds you in the cockpit, I guess, for lack of better words. So that's a pretty big deal, in my opinion. You know, the whole comfort aspect. Because, man, who in the world wants to mow grass on something all day that's going to beat you to death, that makes your shoulders tired from, you know, working the controls, if they're bad controls, or if they're not placed in a good way. It's just so many things that go into that particular category, and makes that a super, super important category. You know, how easy is it to, you know, raise the adjustment for your mowing height? Is that, you know, of course I realize that once, you know, for the most part, once you get that set, especially if you're mowing all one turf type and all one quality of turf type, for the most part, you know, it's going to be about the same height of cut. But I have no doubt in my mind that a lot of people mow yards all day long, and they probably mow them at different heights of cut. I'm just sure that exists somewhere. Us personally, we don't do that. We have a shade height of cut, and then we have a full sun height of cut. And typically that's you know, 3 inches in the shade, 2.5, 3 inches in the shade, and then we go to 4 inches during the summer on our fescue for the height of cut, our maintenance guys. So, but with all that said, I'm sure there are folks out there that probably adjust that height of cut a few times during the day, and you absolutely want that to be easy to do. Lawn care is already hard enough, you know what I mean? It's a tough job. You're out in the elements. A lot of the times it's really long hours, believe me, I know. And you just want your machine to work with you and not against you. I mean, it is what it is. Gas tanks, you know, I think that's pretty important. You know, if we got 1 tank, 2 tanks, how big they are, you know, that kind of thing. One thing, with that said, let me say this. If you're looking for super fine details on every mower, like the gas tank is 6.82345 gallons, you're just not going to get that with this mower video series. I mean, you got to understand the time this takes to do something of this magnitude. And if I went into that kind of detail for every single mower, it would take me the rest of the summer to get this done. And it's not going to happen. We got to be real here. So what I'm getting at is every single one of these manufacturers has a website, and that website is super, super, super detailed, down to all the intricate little detailed specs that you would ever want to know. So if you don't get a certain spec in the review series that you're looking for, Google it. Go to the website and look at it yourself. It's literally that simple. And I'm in no way trying to be mean or rude about that. It's just, in reality, there's just not enough time to do something like that. in the time period that I'm allowed to keep these mowers. It's just not going to happen. And again, I just want to make sure that it's pretty clear that, you know, this is not going to be a super technical, nerdy kind of review, because y'all just know I'm just not that guy. It's going to be more real world, kind of in your face, you know, this works and that don't kind of thing. And again, all while being respectful to each brand, because, you know, each brand has their own little thing. Each mower has their own little thing that probably does a little better than the other one, and it comes down to, does that particular thing that the mower does, is it for your business? You know, you don't buy something because I said buy it. That's the last thing you do. You buy something because it fits your company. Okay, it'd be stupid for you to buy something that works well for me, but yet it doesn't work well for you. That makes no sense in the world whatsoever. There's been a few neighbors walking down the road, driving down the street, and breaking their necks looking I know they're like, what in the world is this guy doing now? They probably just think I have absolutely lost my mind. Aesthetics, controls, ease of maintenance, and parts availability. That's another category. Now let's talk about the parts availability first. I know that the country is in a little bit of a, you know, kind of jacked up position right now as far as getting things and parts and you know, oil filters and hydraulic pumps and belts and drive motors and whatever it may be. I'm experiencing some of that in a very real way with the Spray Buddy and my pressure washer system. You know, things are a little bit slower than they should be, in my opinion, but what can you do about it? Nothing. There's not a dang thing in the world you can do about it, but be patient. And I'm having to do that. So I say all that because if you're looking for me to say, well, this company, you can get the parts super fast, and this company, you can't get the parts super fast. I don't know all that. I have absolutely no clue. That's what your local dealer network is for. And that's some homework that you'll need to do on your own, because there's no way I can do that kind of homework for 13 different machines. It's just physically and mentally impossible. Mentally impossible for me, that is. So that's something you'll need to do. Now, on the ease of maintenance side of it, oh, I can help you. I can really help you on that, because we do a lot of the maintenance on our own equipment, you know, changing belts, you know, a lot of the bare bones basic things like changing belts, changing oil, even sometimes hydraulic fluid, obviously blades, you know, that's pretty simple. Just the average normal stuff that's kind of easy when you don't get into motors and you don't get inside of, you know, transmissions or wheel drive motors or hydraulic pumps or any of that kind of thing. You know, we stay away from that. We're not mechanics by no means, but to save money, we do a lot of the simple things ourselves. And so I have quite a bit of experience with that. And so we'll be able to look over all these machines, and I'll be able to give you a real good, honest take on how easy is the thing to work on, that kind of thing. So the ease of maintenance will be a pretty big deal. I know a lot of folks like to do their own maintenance, and you know, that's a big time category in my opinion. So another category is dealing with the quality of cut, how well does it side discharge, how well does it stripe, cut quality, and the height of cut accuracy. What I mean by that is, I hope you dealers that sent these mowers did your due diligence, because if not, I'm gonna call you out on it. If you put the mower setting in 3, does it cut a true 3 inches? That's what I mean by that. That's a big deal, because you know, if you have certain turf types that you know like or prefer to be cut at different heights, and then you think you're actually cutting it at that height because you just automatically assume that the 3 equals 3 inches and the 4 equals 4 inches, and you do that, but you're cutting it shorter than it should be cut, or you're cutting it taller than it should be cut. That's a big deal. I mean, it is to me. When you grow maintain or grow a high-end turf, you know, I like for that to be accurate. My yard's 30,000-ish square feet total. My neighbors across the street's all fescue. It's 35,000 square feet. And then my father-in-law, you remember my father-in-law's yard that we did the renovation on, I'm watching mow his as well, which is another 35,000 square feet. So it's a lot of mowing. Hey, and when we get done with that, we're gonna go mow Bermuda at 1 inch. Father-in-law's yard will cut at 4 inches. So you're going to get a little bit of a good variety of different heights of cuts, along with different turf types. I'm super curious to see how these machines do on the Bermuda, because I cut that at 1 inch. Comfort, ride quality, and curb test. And basically what that is, you know, I'm gonna get the feel mowing 3 different yards. Of course, my guys are gonna get the feel mowing different yards, and you know, my yards are pretty flat, smooth. You know, I don't think my yard would be a great test for that, but the neighbor's yard, on the other hand, especially back there in the back behind the fence where you never see, it's pretty rough. My father-in-law, of course, I did the grading on that yard. So obviously, I mean, you guys know how peculiar I am about that. So obviously that's gonna be a pretty smooth yard. He does have a decent ditch out front. That ditch is actually a little bit rougher than I like it to be. So that'll be a good test. Of course, my guys are gonna have input on that as well. So we'll get a good feel for, you know, how comfortable the machines are, you know, how it holds on to you, how you fit into the machine. I know you're standing onto it, but just off the top of my head, some of these machines, when you get on them, you actually feel like you're a part of the machine, and some of them you don't. It just feels like you're standing on the back of the mower. So we'll kind of go over that in detail. And you know, curb test is a big deal. You know, a lot of folks mow commercial accounts and they have the curbings, and you want a machine that you can easily get on, you know, onto the grass by crossing over the curb, and you don't want anything kind of hindering you or slowing you down for that. So every single mower is going to get a curb test and see how easily they go over a curb and gutter, I think is what people call it. Oh shoot, you know what? I forgot to foam this one. Let me finish that wheel and I'll throw some foam on it. I'm already kind of thinking about, I got three more mowers to do, including this one. And then I'm going to be going out and placing them all in the yard. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do that, what the kind of look I want to promote with that. And then I'm going to be filming the actual intro to the entire series as soon as I get done with this. So I'm kind of got that in my mind all while trying to tell you about what's going to happen. So, and kind of right behind the quality comfort and quality and all that, I've got something pretty cool, pretty special. I'm actually really excited about this. Is kind of a torture test. Let me go and throw out the disclaimer, because I know some folks will probably view that as, oh, he's just going out there and trying to tear something up. Well, if you think that way, you're wrong. You're absolutely incorrect, and you are absolutely wrong. And the reason I say that is I've been around equipment for a long time. I've ran a lot of different style equipment, everything from push mowers all the way up to motor graders and trackhoes and full-size bulldozers, bobcats, skid steers, backhoes. If it's got hydraulics on it, I pretty much ran it. And humbly speaking, I can do a pretty dang good job with it. The reason I'm saying that is I understand equipment very, very well. I know the limits of equipment. I know what you can actually do on a piece of equipment safely and not tear it up. I know exactly what you can do and not be destructive on it. But at the same time, you gotta give it a little bit of heck. You know what I'm saying? So I have a field. It's back there behind my brother's house where we shoot guns at. It's kind of his target range he's got set up. And it's not necessarily a plowed field, but I would call it a semi-plowed field, where it's by no means is it smooth. In no way, shape, form, fashion it's smooth. It's pretty rough, but it's growed up, kind of got broom straw type, you know, just old field grass and that kind of thing. But what I'm going to do is each one of the mowers will get their own shot at it, and we're just going to take off across that field wide open as fast as the thing will go. And I know you're saying, well, what's the point? Yeah, it's kind of a little bit to do with the comfort part of the review, and then it's also you know, let's see if a nut and a bolt comes off. Let's see if something comes loose and falls off of the machine, and let's just kind of see how tough it is. No, you know, I'm not going to drop the thing off the side of a cliff or nothing like that. So it's not that kind of torture test, but I think it's enough of a torture test to where I can get a good idea, you know, how well the thing will hold together. And then one other part of that, and I'm kind of still on the fence about this. I'm not completely sure I'm going to do this or not, because I do think this might be pushing it just a little bit. Is we use, we have some Isuzu NPR flatbeds that we mow with, and Jeremy's got one of the bigger ones that he drives on a daily basis, and it's the one with the long bed on it. I think it's a 21-foot bed. So the other idea I had was to drop the tailgate, back the mower up as far as I could back it up onto the bed, and come off the bed wide open, full speed, as hard and as fast as I could go. But I'm not completely sure I'm going to do that, because I do think that might be pushing it a little bit on, you know, borderline. Well, he really is trying to tear it up, you know, that kind of thing. And I don't want to damage anybody's equipment. No way, no how. So I got to think about that a little bit more. Plus, another reason I'm a little shy about doing that is I didn't tell any of these manufacturers I would be doing that. So I was very open and very upfront about the entire process, and the truck jump, I guess is what you would call it. That just recently came to mind. I said, ooh, that'll be cool just to throw that in there, but I honestly don't have time to go back around and call all of the you know, the folks that supplied these mowers and get their permission to do that. So chances are you won't see it, but if I'm feeling kind of froggy that day, you might. You know, with that said, one thing you have to keep in mind is this really isn't a one-off for me. I hope and pray that the manufacturers feel like I've done them enough justice individually to where this could lead into something more, meaning, you know, maybe the next time we do this, maybe we have all walk-behind mowers out here. The next time we do this, maybe it's all the residential prosumer or pro-commercial type mowers out here. Maybe the next time, maybe it's a bunch of sprayers out here. Maybe it's a bunch of ride-on, the biggest, baddest ride-on you got. So you know, I kind of do need to be a little bit cautious in how I approach this. Obviously, I want to be straightforward, but at the same time, I don't want to make any of the manufacturers mad to where they potentially would not want to do this again with maybe another style mower or something. You know, I posted on some social media and stuff and asked folks what they would like to see as far as categories go, and you know, I've read over them 100 times, and I've really put this together and I really tried to, you know, dial it into like the main things. And if I miss something, or if I do miss something, I'm sorry. But I really think I'm covering the biggest, most important parts of someone, you know, getting ready to buy a machine, buy a mower, and the things that most people would look for. And hopefully there's some things in this series that maybe you don't think about. And it maybe, you know, helps you in some way or another make your final purchase decision. But the next category, I have no doubt is going to be a favorite, is hillside mowing. Now, one thing I want to say about that is I have looked near and far trying to find the perfect hill to test every single one of these mowers on, and I can't find it. I can't find in my opinion, what would be the perfect hill to represent true hillside mowing. But I do have a place at a different shooting range where the berm, the backstop, and that one backstop, it's not a humongous backstop. It's not a super big backstop, but it's big enough to do the test on. It's a 30-degree slope in one part of it, and those of you who know anything about slopes, a 30-degree slope is pretty dang steep to put one of these mowers on. So just being honest with you, the little bit, well, let me say this, I have not been on these mowers. When they were delivered, each individual mower was delivered, I drove it straight into the shop, and it sat inside the shop this entire time. Had the grasshopper, I think it came first. I think I've had it for almost 3 weeks now. I have not crunked the mower. So I did that intentionally so that, you know, I wouldn't have anybody would have any type of advantage going into this, and believe me, it's killing me. That was one of the most hardest things I've ever had to do, is stay off of those machines and not just get out there and ride them around. But they've all sat idle since I've gotten them. Back to the heel, just from that little bit of me being on it, it's going to be tough for any of these mowers to be on that 30-degree slope. And the way I know it is a true 30-degree slope is I took my Ventrac out there and rode up and down the hill. Well, rode down the hill and then back up. It's a very steep grade, and I'm almost questioning the slope gauge on the Ventrac, because it's steep. It's very steep. And then at the same place, there is a 25-degree slope, and then it tapers off to about 20 degrees of slope. So that'll give us about 3 different gauges of slope or degrees of slope that we can test the mowers on. And at that same place, the same place that's got a smaller heel that none of them's going to have any trouble with or whatever. So it kind of give us a good and it's rough mowing. There's absolutely nothing smooth about these heels. So you kind of get two flavors with that particular test. So the hillside test should be pretty cool. And I live in central North Carolina, so we're relatively flat. I think we would probably be more of the roly-poly, subtle heels. We're not in the mountains. We don't have those kind of heels around here. Yeah, there's a few yards here and there it might, but for the most part we don't. So if you were looking for that kind of a hillside mower review, I'm sorry, they're just not available to me. Oh, and I remember what I was talking about now before my neighbor rolled up. Efficiency, the way I'm going to do the hillside and the way I'm going to do the field mowing in that rough field is I'm going to take a day from work and just spend all day going. I can only haul 3 of these at one time on my Isuzu. So I've got the short bed Isuzu. So I'm going to do all that filming in one day. That way I don't have to take one mower out and do it and then come back 3 or 4 days later and do another mower. So the conditions will be basically the same for every mower on the hillside. And the next to the last category. So Exmark, owe you a very humble apology. My SD card and my camera filled up with storage as I was cleaning your machine and talking about the last category. So please forgive me. I'm very sorry for that. Simply, there's no need in going back and washing the machine again. I brought you front and center. They're front and center right here to kind of make up for that. So again, I apologize. Conditions. I'm going to be over the top anal about trying to mow all these yards in the same conditions, and that will be a dry yard. I can't fine-tune the schedule enough to where every single time I mow, it's at the exact same time of the day. The sun's in the same location. The sun's out or it's cloudy or what. You have to be realistic. Okay, I can't physically do that in 30 days or 45 days with this many mowers. It's literally impossible. So again, it goes back to the nerdy thing. If you're looking for that kind of review series, then this isn't the one for you, because it's just not going to be that way. I'm going to get it done in a timely fashion, but at the same time, I'm also going to go above and beyond everything within my power to keep everything consistent across the board, especially when it comes to the mowing. Now, when the guys take the mowers out, obviously they'll be mowing first thing in the morning, heavy dews on the ground. I highly doubt I'll have the time to go out and film all of that, but we will be getting their take on that and their opinion on, first thing in the morning mowing, turf type tall fescue, super tall, thick, lush, and got a heavy dew on it. And I know that's a really important thing, is mowing wet grass to people. So we'll get their take on that specifically. But as far as what I'm mowing around here, that's probably not going to be the case. And as far as that last category goes that I was going to talk about while cleaning the Exmark, is power. Now, I think you need to look around and see the different motor sizes out here. Different manufacturers choose different engines for various reasons. So every single one of these motors are not the same. So you're going to have to take what I say, you're going to have to digest that your way, okay? You know, it'd be one thing if all the mowers were identical, all the hydraulic systems on every machine were identical, but that's simply not the case. So when we're talking about the power of the machine, that will be relative to the particular motor that's on the machine, and then you would just have to construct your own viewpoint based on what I say. Hydraulics, feel, sensitivity, and responsiveness. I've been on a lot of equipment, a lot. Everything from a push mower all the way up to a motor grader, and I've run them all, and I consider myself fairly good on, or fairly experienced on all of them. Basically, if it has hydraulics, I can get on it, turn the key on it, and I can complete a job, and it will be a very, very high quality, very good job. You name the piece of equipment, I don't care. You name it, God's blessed me with that, humbly speaking, that hydraulics just work well with these hands. I don't know why, they just do. So I'll be able to give you a very good take on you know, the feel of the machine, the responsiveness, whether the hydraulics are jerky, whether they're smooth, whether they're fluid, whether they're not. There's all kind of things with that. And again, you can't. I know you want apples to apples, and the overarching theme here, we are apples to apples. They're all stand-on mowers. Okay, that's the apple versus the apple. But if you're going to micro nitpick, well, that one's got this particular set of spark plugs, and they're 18 times better than the spark plugs on. That's just too much. It's too much detail for me. You know, I'm not that big into details. I want to know what the mower would do. That's what I want to know, based on the way it's set up and what it brought to the table. That's what I want to know. So that's kind of what you're going to get. I'm going to do, at the end, I'm going to do a one word. This will be a non-scoring, and I've got a pretty fun category that's going to be a non-scoring category as well. And then at the end, we're going to do a verdict. So the one word is basically, the word can be the same for different mowers. Okay, it can be the same. I'm not going to try to come up with 13 different words and be that creative, but it's just my overall opinion in one word. What do I think about this machine? One word, bam. And then we'll come into the verdict. So that verdict isn't going to be well, this one's better than that one, or that one's better than this one. It's just going to be my take on kind of a ballpark overarching idea of what's in my mind. What does Pete think about this machine in general as a whole? So as I've said 100 times before, I have the greatest wife on planet Earth. She's extremely patient with me. I mean, her car's out there in the road while lawnmowers were sitting in here in the garage overnight. So a huge thank you to my wife and my family for being extremely over the top patient with me and letting me do my thing. I'm so thankful for my wife. It's 5:30. I don't have a lot of time, probably 3 hours of daylight, 2 hours of good daylight. So I'm going to get the machines out here in the backyard. I think I'm going to line them. I'm not going to tell you any of that, but I am going to get them back in the backyard and go and get some drone footage and that kind of thing, and some real good close-up. The clouds are just right for filming right now, so everything should be really nice and vibrant in color. So I'm going to get a lot of close-ups and things like that for some slow motion shots and you know, highlighting the different machines and all that kind of thing. And I'm going to actually go out here, and I think I got time to go ahead and film the opening video to the series. So hope you've enjoyed this video. Check out the drag racing video. That was the fun one we just did. And I got to get with it. As always, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch. I'll check you later.